subscribe to Saleswalah Studios and do not forget to click on the bell icon. Hello and welcome to another episode of Leisurely Baatein. My guest today is Pauline. Pauline's the co-founder of Y East. She's also the Sustainability Director at Techno India Group. Pauline, welcome to Leisurely Baatein. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Subhadip, for welcoming me on your platform. I am doing good among the odd circumstances of COVID-19 and Amphan, the cyclone that passed by Kolkata, where I'm based now. So It's interesting times, to say the less.
It is indeed. I mean, it's we're all living in very challenging times. So I'd like to understand and ask you, how are you keeping yourself busy?
So I think what has kept me afloat and relatively mentally healthy for the past 3 months, it's already been 3 months that we're stuck in lockdown.
Unbelievable.
I
can't imagine it's 3 months. It's just started with one day.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember maybe it was 3.5, 4 months ago when we were starting to hear about the COVID-19 slightly spreading outside of China. I was like, it's okay. It's not likely to come to Kolkata. I mean, why would it? And then here we are with the globe completely stuck all together.
Right.
So that was a weird and very quick evolution from the part of the virus. Anywho, to answer your question, I think what has kept me afloat is work that kept going, from home. I am lucky enough to actually have a lot of flexibility in my work, especially partly as an entrepreneur on this venture that you cited, which is Y East. And so the projects that come to us are also dependent on what we ourselves bring on the table and what are our decisions and what are the next steps that we see. And luckily enough, this lockdown, if anything, has, I think, taught a lot of us that some work, some impact, some project could also be achieved online through different online communities, could be online internships, could be online, e-learning processes, webinars. It's not because it's lockdown that all activities, especially related to the education sector, should be stopped. So that, I think, has kept me busy with a lot of different new projects, a lot of projects that have happened that wouldn't have happened at all if the COVID-19 hadn't knocked at our doors. So I feel both, of course, destabilized by the crisis, as well as very lucky in a way that we have been able to grab it as an opportunity as well.
100%. Very well said. Pauline, the next question I'm going to ask you is touches on the personal side, but not to intrude.
I have no secrets I can share. I like that.
No, I'm not going to ask how you were proposed. But what I wanted to understand is, was it difficult to choose Kolkata over Paris as a city where you would live and work?
It was very difficult, and it's still, in some days, it's still difficult to embrace the reality that I am now here. It's not so much Paris versus Calcutta. It's more about my family 1,000 miles away and my new family and friends here in Kolkata. So I'm lucky to have support system in both my cities, but the acceptance of leaving my family in a way and so far away has been a whole journey of acceptance and embracing your own decisions in a more complex way than I would have thought when I actually took that decision, So when I ended up really loving Kolkata for different reasons. I think I've always believed that if you challenge yourself in a new environment, especially so different from your place, this is where, in terms of personal growth, you are more likely to grow as a person, more likely to learn, more likely to embrace a learning curve that you would never have touched upon if you hadn't challenged yourself that much. But on the other side of the coin, of course, it has been a bit difficult to. You can't have it all, right? It's either you challenge yourself and or you have some losses, which have been for me not being able to be as physically present for my family and friends as I wish I could have been back home.
Right.
But I have Kolkata is a wonderful city, and I'm really lucky to have discovered it. And so it's not difficult to be here because I love to be here. It is difficult because I cannot split myself into two.
I can understand. I mean, I grew up in Kolkata. It's certainly
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did my schooling from Kolkata, Don Bosco Park Circus.
Mm-hmm.
And it's certainly a very emotional, very warm city. So I kind of miss it. I've been living like overseas for many years, and now I'm based in Delhi. So my parents still live there, so I keep visiting Kolkata, but obviously now stuck in the current circumstances. Pauline, share with us a little bit about your early life.
So my early life, I was born in Paris, capital city of France, and I grew up in the suburbs on the west side of Paris, so 15, 20 kilometers away from Paris center, in close to a well-known city called Versailles, which you might have heard about because of this palace that brings a lot of tourists in every year. And if you ask me a couple of adjectives to tell you about my early life, it would be happy and uneventful. Happily uneventful. That is to say, I have been privileged to have supportive parents. I loved going to school. I was a good student. I walked to school every day in a suburban kind of life where all of the infrastructures as a kid that you would wish to have around you were there. So athletic and sports infrastructures around, a lot of parks, school structures, etc. So everything was there out of reach. And I was good at school. I also, I think I got that from my parents. I also was very much into sports. So I did extensively around 10 to 12 years of gymnastics. I think that also brought a lot of my rigor and perfectionism into my personality also as a professional after that, because in gymnastics everything needs to be impeccable so that you can perform well in competitions, etc. Then I tried tennis, and then 7 or 8 years of volleyball, trying out a bit more of the team spirit out there, and so that was my high school years. And then there's this very French educational path, which is called the preparatory class. So after your high school, you can choose different stuff, of course, but you can choose to go for this 2-year preparatory class for potentially prestigious either engineering or business schools. And so I was one of a business economics students. I went into that path, luckily managed to enter HEC Paris, which is one of the very good schools of the country, also in the suburbs of Paris, not too far away from my parents' place. Right. And this is really where every opportunity on campus or academic opportunities I had, I would take them in order to get to know more and to build up my professional skills on what we call sustainability and social innovation.
Right.
So I went to the Philippines in 2014 for a social impact assessment study for a few months. After that, I went to Singapore for an exchange semester at SMU. After that, I decided to take a gap year, a year off my studies before I finalized my master's degree, because it was one of the options that were on the table.
Right.
By HEC, given by HEC Paris. Very lucky to have that opportunity. And I did not hesitate a second. So, for this 1 year, with 3 friends of mine, we founded a not-for-profit called Aqua. And through that, we traveled for a year in different countries for what we call social impact assessment studies for NGOs, social enterprises, and foundations. And this took us to, we started with Ivory Coast and then Tunisia, Senegal, Tanzania, India. That was my first time in India then in 2017. Cambodia, Ecuador, and Colombia.
Wow.
And then I came back to France and did my master's degree in sustainability and social innovation, which was literally the name of this particular specialization that I chose, because by then I had understood that I didn't want to do anything else of my professional life than going the meaningful, impactful way. So that was that. And I graduated from this program couple of months before I moved to Kolkata. So that's a couple of years ago.
Fantastic. I mean, that's so interesting. I mean, traveling through such a vast and diverse, range of countries, in Africa and Far East and in India. I mean, all of them have their own challenges. I mean, I've lived around 10 years in Africa. So I do understand some of the countries that you mentioned.
Where were you in Africa?
I lived in the better part of Africa, which is Johannesburg in South Africa.
Yeah.
But I traveled extensively for it. Oh, it's beautiful.
I heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful country and a lot of memories for me and my wife.
Yes.
So what was your motivation to co-found Y East, and what does Y East do?
Yeah. So by the time I moved to Kolkata, I knew that one of the sectors that tend to fall under sustainability, which, by the way, is a very transverse discipline that can apply to a lot of sectors.
Right.
One of them that was really tickling me was education. How to use the lever of education in order to make sustainability as a mindset progress in society. And I was lucky enough, again here, that my now family-in-law works very extensively in the education sector through this group called Techno India Group, which you've heard about.
Yes.
And so, again, I did not hesitate to jump on this opportunity to dive into the sector that I was dying to work in, which was education. And I joined Techno India Group as sustainability director right from when I moved to Kolkata. Right. So what I mean by that, and I chose this position very, very consciously. What I mean by that is, and I don't think actually there's a lot of institutions, if maybe not at all, educational institutions across the country that have a specific sustainability department. So what I meant by that, and what I mean by that is, I really took this responsibility to keep talking about social and environmental issues and social and environmental impact, so that it becomes more and more included into our students' curricula and opportunities and projects. Right. Because I really believe that sustainability is a mindset, is related to ethics, and is also related to a lot of potential careers that can be both related to making a living and also creating very, very meaningful impact. And then coming to YEast soon, so I took on this role, and then I realized that because I was very new to the city, and because the scale in India is absolutely crazy. So especially in terms of number of people, number of students, even at Techno India, I could not bring about a significant change, if I were on my own. And so I figured that I needed to be better locally connected to other professionals working in the social and sustainability sector in Kolkata and surroundings. And this is when the YEast concept came to my mind as an aggregating platform for professionals working in such sectors to meet, to further collaborate together, and to further, create synergies with other sectors as well. So this is when we started the YEast adventure. Now YEast is this online platform where we invite organizations to sign up and come work with us. And it's also, of course, an offline networking platform. For example, we invite all of our community to meet on a monthly basis and to exchange and to have action-oriented discussions. I mean, that was before the lockdown. That will resume after the lockdown. But the networking and collaboration has been the focus of YEast. And of course, working out the synergies between this network and our students at Techno India and other educational institutions, so that students can understand and get inspired by actual individuals who are making their living out of doing something impactful.
This is phenomenal. I mean, I think what I really appreciate and like about the way you have structured this is it's not just theory. There's a lot of cross-pollination, there's a lot of collaboration, and I think there needs to be that ecosystem which together needs to go out and support a society that needs that assistance and help. So well done.
Thank you. Actually, one of the couple of feedbacks that we've had from some of our community members is that when you discover that YEast is somewhere in Kolkata, it provides you with the feeling that you're not alone in trying to fight social and environmental big challenges, and it really provides you with a community of like-minded friends. That's what we've been hearing from our members. And also, I believe, I've always told to people trying to explain YEast that, if you go to a party, you're not far away from meeting the love of your life. In a way, it's the same that happens when you create such encounter opportunities. You're never far away from a very meaningful collaboration with another NGO or with another company or with another social enterprise doing great work out there. So that's the principle.
No, absolutely brilliant. And I think, what I have seen through my life as a traveling salesman in IT is once you start sharing thoughts and ideas, you never know where the seeds can blossom out into wonderful flowers and trees, and often we kind of suppress that thought in ourselves, and this is such an encouraging platform that you have created, which is very needed, especially in the NGO and the non-profit space. And I say this because I am a board member of a non-profit organization that works for adults with autism in Dehradun, and we provide training and assisted living.
That is great.
So I do understand how challenging it can be for people who are driving these organizations, and it always helps to just share that this is what I'm experiencing, and maybe there could be the solution lies with someone out there who you don't even expect to get that help from.
Being able to talk your challenges out with other brains, it can be as simple as that for you to unlock your situation. So that's what we are looking at when we're doing these professional meetups. We have round tables that any community member can actually take the liberty to lead the conversation. And so we have a conversation going on waste management, another conversation going on gender equality, and it's a very, very interesting ecosystem to be part of, really. So let's see where it takes us.
No, it's a wonderful initiative. So what are some of the projects that you have undertaken from a Y East perspective that you reckon has created an impact to the citizens in A, Kolkata, and B, in the eastern part of India?
Yeah. So the one that I was telling you about, the monthly meetups, is probably one of the most impactful projects that we have led. I'll just go a bit deeper into the explanation of that. So we started monthly meetups in Kolkata. It was last August, and then every month until February, until the beginning of the lockdown, it happened. And then the long-term vision of Y East. It's not a coincidence that it's called Y East. Actually, there's a very conscious choice of being focused on East and Northeast India, because when I came to Kolkata, I don't know, I think I was tired of hearing everyone saying that East and Northeast India had nothing to offer compared to other regions. And so because I circumstantially happened to be in Kolkata, wherever you are in the world, what matters is what do you do out of your geography and how do you give the best to your geography as much as you can. So
very nice.
That's a regional focus that we consciously chose for Y East. And the long-term vision is we have a city chapter in Kolkata that is able to offer monthly meetups for the community. We've opened another one in February. So unfortunately, we had the time to only do one professional meetup. Again, as I was telling you, out of one professional meetup, the number of encounters that you can do, that you can make, is absolutely significant. So in Kolkata, we have a city chapter in Darjeeling with a partner of ours called MBKS, which is the implementation partner for Y East monthly meetups in Darjeeling. And the idea is to replicate this very simple low-hanging fruit model of the monthly meetups in and around the Northeast region and East region. So we're looking at Bhubaneswar. We have a couple of contacts in Guwahati, Assam. Nice. And trying to develop other city chapters in the East. So that's probably the first backbone I wanted to highlight here.
Right.
Another type of project that we've been leading is actually in synergy with the education sector, where we bring and we use the appetite for students to also have meaningful projects and careers to also lead projects on the field. So for example, we have started this project called the River Rangers. So it was back in September. You might have heard about it. The River Rangers is it's a project in partnership with Y East as well as an Australian company called Budi Solutions. Right. And from last September, every Sunday we go back to the same ghat in Kolkata, Malik Ghat, close to the Howrah Bridge, and we take our own hands and we clean the ghat. So not only does it have an impact cleaning out a place that is very much, unfortunately, dirty by, of course, all of the local community and the migrants and visitors, and unfortunately taking the river as a trash, not realizing all of the impacts that it can have. And it also serves as really a good awareness campaign, because a lot of people just see us there and just wonder why we're doing this, and it's always a good time and a good opportunity for us to explain about river and ocean pollution. And that we have had, a very decent group of volunteers, especially coming from students and education organizations that have really led the project like bosses. So very happy to have these young and this youth also taking the topics into their own hands. Another such project, another example of such project would be the plugging run that we organized a year back. Plugging, for those who don't know, is the discipline of jogging, like going for a run, and at the same time picking up litter and trash on your way from the streets. So it's both
that was interesting.
good for your health.
I didn't know that.
It's a fun exercise, really. So you're running, and then you're also squatting down in order to pick up your litter, and you have a glove and a bag, and then so you work on your arms muscles and you work on your legs a bit more. It's both good for fitness as well as for the environment and this citizen responsibility mindset. So it's kind of an all-in-all project which was interesting, and we have the willingness to do that over year, hopefully. So that was there. And then one last project, or let's say type of project that WISE is very, very dedicated to, is the creation and curation of educational material about sustainability. So that takes the shape of numerous awareness and awareness sessions and lectures at Techno India for students, but also different schools we are in touch with, where we typically bring professionals from the WISE network to share their expertise and experience to students. It's the synergies between the two are that simple sometimes.
Right.
For example, to set up an e-waste collection point on Techno India main campus. It also led us to partner with a WISE member called Vital Waste that typically take the dry waste from Techno India Group and recycles it properly. And during the lockdown, it has also made us think and start thinking about the implementation of an e-learning platform fully dedicated to sustainability. So that's the project of the month, if I may say. We are heavily working on it. We hope it's going to be out soon.
Oh, fantastic! It's a lot's happening, and there's a lot of young minds that you have triggered as the future change agent, and where the change would hopefully multiply and take this initiative, make this initiative viral. So well done. What I wanted to ask, leading into the conversation we were having in terms of students being a potential change agent, is in India we haven't seen many courses or many management courses on sustainability or social entrepreneurship. Is that something that Y East or Techno India would drive in future?
100%. So it's a personal mission that I have to multiply these educational opportunities. What's tricky with sustainability, though, is it applies and should apply to each and every stream of education. So that is to say, there's a sustainability angle to mechanical engineering. There's a sustainability angle to economics. There's a sustainability and social angle to law. It's everywhere. But a bit of experience has taught me that if eventually you're willing to include sustainability mindset and sustainability expertise into all of these teams, there needs to be a transition period where sustainability department independently works and really pound again and again the topic of sustainability into all of these streams, so that eventually down the line blossoming and blooming in each of the streams of education.
Right.
To get to your point of position when they need a big focus on sustainability until it becomes so natural that it is absolutely there in all the streams. And so in this transition, we have partnered quite recently with, I'm very bad with acronyms, but the Mahatma Gandhi National Council of Rural Education under the Ministry of Education of India, which has developed a whole curriculum on an MBA in waste management and social entrepreneurship. And so last January, around the 20th of January, we had this very big 2-day seminar about these topics, which also served as a platform for us to announce the imminent launch of this MBA under Techno India University. Unfortunately, because of the lockdown and the situation, it will need to be slightly pushed in time, postponed in time, but this is something that we are looking at launching by next year.
Oh, well done. That is phenomenal. I didn't realize, you are, really working at the speed of thought.
Trying my best. There might be some delay here and there, you know how that works. But
correct. Well done.
It's in pipeline, as I said.
Pauline, we are almost towards the end of our program. The last question which I wanted to ask you is, how do you see the world post-COVID-19?
That's an interesting question that is very difficult to answer. I want to maybe highlight a couple of lines of thoughts here. I actually have read a book recently called Factfulness, and I love this book. And it basically says that the world is not as bad as you think. Right. If you look at the facts and you compare with 30 years ago, you would be absolutely amazed by the progress that the society has made in terms of healthcare, in terms of access to more services, in terms of middle income societies kicking in, etc. And I think this is one of the messages that I'd have here is, yes, there are many issues. Yes, we still need to keep working on them. Yes, we will live through crisis like the 2008 crisis or the COVID-19 crisis, and COVID-19 crisis is not going to be the last one. Right. But we also need to realize first that the progress that we are making is a work in progress, and we've actually achieved a lot in the past decades. And second, I think we need to use this positive energy and optimism in order to keep going to post-COVID-19 and post-next crisis as well. So what I've observed during the COVID-19 crisis, the one that we've lived in the past few months, is, yes, it's difficult, but it's also like so much innovation, so many new ideas, so much hunger to find solutions to challenges have also bloomed during this particular time, and with opportunities and moments and meetings and collaborations that never have happened if the COVID-19 crisis hadn't happened itself. So the way I see the post-COVID-19 world is, and it's a conscious choice, I'm going to choose to see it very optimistically, with a youth that is very eager to try and find solutions with a lot more meaningfulness than before, because this is the path that we're taking. A lot of solidarity. I mean, I don't know if you've seen all of these images all over the world of solidarities for the healthcare sector and workers, the solidarities that have so many fundraisers. I see in Kolkata fundraisers and work on the field to bring relief to not only COVID-19 affected communities, but also Amphan affected communities after the cyclone. I've been amazed by, I want to be amazed, and I want to keep focusing on this mesmerizing that I've felt people's generosity and people's willingness to do better, So that's what I'm going to focus on. Still.
100%. Very well said. Very inspiring. Pauline, thank you so much. And I wish you and all your initiatives all the very best in the coming days. And I look forward to meeting you in person on the other side of COVID-19 when I'm in Kolkata.
Not too soon, though, because I'm hearing the plane commutes are not the safest.
Right. 100%. Thank you. Take care.
Take care, Subhadip.